positions and the natures of it. And today we're going into calculating the human code and each number. So these are just examples of the numbers that are and here that has to do with.
Can you use my code as
Yeah. I actually need that because to recap of last time. So yeah. This is what we did last time about the elements, which is air, water, fire, earth. As we discussed, air is the intellect, the logical. Water is emotional and has to do with emotion and nurturing. Fire, drive and spirit. Earth has to do with structure and materialism and being grounded. And this is the 8 positions where the numbers will go into and describes you as an individual. They say man has 3 natures. It is the one he shows to the world, the one he shows to the people close to himself, and the one he keeps to himself. It is discussed like that through many religious systems. And this is an idea and a hint to why it is said so. As the personality is what you show to the world, the inner self is what you show and what you relate to with the people close to you. And the inner child is what you strive to be, your hidden nature, which you want to be when you grow up. But the personality most of the time will suppress that. So,
this is so interesting because I'm none of those things.
You're none of those things. It depends on your birthday.
Yeah, because I'm on the 28th and I'm supposed to be number 1, right? And supposed to be an active, what is it? Well, I can't know. Talkative.
That's the positive side.
That's the positive side.
Grow up in a well environment and in a healthy household. And if it's not that, then you might want to check on the other side.
Okay, I am actually seeing myself on the other side.
That's the duality of the nature of the numbers. When you're not showing the one side of the world and the other side. And that's what that shows to you what you need to work on as you grow up and as you go through life, because we will all have stuff to go through. Can I use your phone code as an example? Because I don't want to leave you in front of the people.
No, I'm interested to actually find out to get to the interpretation according to the discussion on each number. So, but anyway, how you actually work that, you'll get to that.
Oh, so I can use you as an example? Okay, so this is Mr. Hendricks pin code. Can I have your birthday?
Second and the fourth. 1950.
Second or the fourth one?
Wow, yeah.
Oh, yeah, we find it the same birth here. 50.
No. April. Second of April. There's fourth.
Fourth. 2/4.
2/4.
Yes, but first I want to discuss how to calculate the code.
So when you calculate his age, sorry.
It is getting to me. So the second is on the second, which is a 2, and April is the 4th month, so that will be a 4 in 1950. As you know, you should make a complex number is what we call this. When it's a big number, you have to make it a single number. So 1 plus 9 will be 10, and 1 plus 0 is 1. And you plus it with 5, which is a 6, so it's a 6. That's how complex numbers work. So this is the basis of the whole point code. Your day, your month, and your year, which we call the personality, the social consciousness, and the global consciousness. And when you plus these two, you get your inner self. And when you plus these two, you get your inner child. And when you plus your inner child and your inner self, you get your spirit. And then when you plus these three, 2 plus 4, 6, 6 plus 6, 12. 1 plus 2 is 3. So his life cycle will be 3. And then you plus your life cycle with your day, and then you get a 5. That is the entirety of the point called the 8 numbers. This is your lesson, your life cycle. Your life cycle is how you view stuff that you go through in life, perspective on life. And your lesson is the stuff in your point code which you will have to work through, which is on the active side. And we show you the number 5. Yeah. So this lesson is on
5.
Yeah, 5. Thank you. So number 5, you will lesson will be on the active side, which you will have to focus on. And I also have a number here, which is 5, so I can relate. It's hard. We are rebellious, and you will have to work on that, and you will I don't know, unrebellious, and restless. That 5s have a lot of energy, because A is to do with the mind, and they have a tendency to have a capacity for a lot of knowledge and intellect. And so they can tire people out around them because of how restless they can be. And critical, they are critical. So sometimes they say things that are very sharp, and it offends certain people because they like seeing themselves and they want to be in the rebellious, you see, so it has to.
That's me.
You probably have 5 in you. Sharp tongue, so they can be sharp tongue.
That's nice.
Intense, volatile, stress, difficult, contrary, which is like contradictory, and nervous. They thrive on nervous energy in yourself. And that's why this is the perfect professor most of the time, because we like learning stuff and teaching stuff. But that's the stuff you all have to work on. This is his lesson, and we'll focus on the active side, which is him being courteous, humorous, extroverted, analytical, intellectual, and like seeing results. He enjoys being changed, and he's flexible, he's very adaptable, chatty, unemotional. They tend to logic. They like to intellectualize their emotions instead of feeling them. They like to think about it, and that's one of the stuff that we work on, logical. And that's the meaning of the lesson, which we all have. And then this number is the life cycle, how you see life. There's also
how life treats you.
How you see life, yeah. We all
Like
see
that.
life in a different way.
Yeah.
I wanted to go through the.
But how did you
the
get
life
3 and 5? I know how you got 2, 4, 6, but how did you get 3 and 5?
3 and 5.
Right.
You take you plus the 3 numbers, which is a 3.
Plus them for me, add them for me.
Okay, 2 plus 6
6 plus 6
is 12.
1 plus 2 is 3.
So you take the 1 and the 2 of the 12 and you
Because
add them
you know when we have 2 numbers,
Oh,
we
so-
add them
Oh,
to find a single number.
Okay.
So 1 plus 2 is 3. That is
And
3.
you plus this.
It's 12 for most
That's
people.
35.
But they're only a single number, it can be double
Like
number.
that.
Okay.
Can't
And
beat
you
that.
plus that, you get the lesson.
Okay.
Understand that?
You
So
understand
before
now?
we move on, is there any questions from you guys' side?
You're saying that is like that, and that is how you will be. But, eh?
Basically, it's not telling you how you're supposed to be, but showing you the potential of how you can be. That's why they say the pin code is like a hand of cards.
It also lends you to actually learn about yourself.
To know about yourself, to discover yourself,
And discover
and those
what
around
your
you.
potential is, and give it recognition in your life. That's really what it means.
But it doesn't always necessarily fit.
That's what we try to actually find out
Like Forbes,
using the system.
like Forbes will tell you, oh, that's your star sign. Oh, no wonder you act like that. But it may not be like that at all.
I hear you, Mr. Kemp.
Maybe.
But the thing about the system is that it's derived from astrology, psychology, philosophy. All the systems which uses personality
And
analysis, and it was summarized and basically boiled down to this system to make it as accurate as possible. Because even astrology has to do with the time of and the day that you were born. Any time of the day can depend what type of Aquarius or Capricorn you are.
Yeah,
Even though
sorry, according to the reading that I did, this system is a lot more reliable than any other system. There's numerology, there's Kabbalah, all the others. This is actually 99% accurate.
95 to 99.
So what is it called, the system?
The
Human pin code.
Yeah. I have a book, there's the book, which is where this information is coming from.
Just on my reading for the preparing for the poetry, I was reading all sorts of strange books that I never would have read ever. And as one fellow was saying about poetry, that you write what you are, and you can try to disguise that, but you can see, so someone else will be able to see, because they know what you are or who you are. So you reflect in your writing, no matter how much you try to disguise it.
It will still be a part of you.
It was
trying to work
different.
that one out. It's like, really? It's like you write. Frank Zappa would say, "You are what? You are what you is.
You are what you eat.
You are what you is."
It's like,
you
it works like
You are
also.
what you eat.
Yeah, you are what you eat, or
You are what you read.
when you are writing lyrics for music,
It's like a reflection.
like it's a reflection of yourself.
Because you cannot write what you have not experienced. You cannot write about what is not experienced. Even if you can, but there will always be a part
Or
of
people
you.
will caution you.
This person is saying,
There will always be some sort of a relativity in your writing with your experiences and who you are.
cool, man.
I wanted the life cycle page.
Benjamin, you quiet in the back here, Benjamin?
Yes,
You
number
okay?
4.
You have any questions, Benjamin?
There are two things I like about that. Even though I don't.
Did you want an example of it? Sorry.
I want to know what the actually say.
No, I'm actually more into believing what is exact. So astrology and those things, if it's not exact, it's sort of a map system. But what I liked what you were saying now is that a poet will be able to see it doesn't matter how much you disguise it.
That's very
So for me now, it is to learn about this types of people groupings or social groupings, and to learn, say from inspector, investigator. That is where I also the application for me to see how to see things and see people, because you are what you is. So this is mapping you into a group. So it's interesting to do studies of events that happen according to people are not again.
But that's why we all get the opportunity to analyze our own control and say, no, I can relate to it, or no, that's not me. So you can either be proof or evidence that the system is invalid or is flawed, you see. But that's why I am embracing it like this and openly, because I also want to know if there's flaws in the system, because I have so much trust in it and worked with it for years now. I discovered this 7 years ago when I was still in high school. from that time, my perspective on this has changed so much. Even in the past 3 years, the way I look at the Pantone and everything is still it's a constant, continually evolving system. That's what I like about it. That's why you can always learn from others' perspectives, because we are so different.
That's the point I made earlier, is that you get to understand yourself better. So then you recognize attributes because you have this yardstick of the example. That's really what it is.
Yeah. And to add to that, this is really important that you actually, it actually makes you work on your strengths. And you develop yourself. It doesn't matter because you start seeing this in you. And because of that, you develop those strengths.
And you give recognition.
And more and more you become that.
And you
You know
understand
what you mean.
where your weaknesses come from. When
Yes, and then you work on that.
And you don't think, I'm this and that.
I'm just like-
You actually have the opportunity to see why you are like that.
And you say, I'm work on that.
And the same with other people, don't judge other people for why they are like this.
So that actually brings your consciousness into effect. So then you are self-educating yourself by actually living what you
Examining where you're living.
Can this system make a bad person a good person?
It depends upon the individual. Because this can be used to bad to manipulate people. When you see people deeper than they show, they will show you the personality, but you will see the inner self and the inner child. You will know stuff about them that they don't even know. You will see how egotistical they are, maybe. And you can and just be the ego, for example.
Hello, Desmond.
Okay. So a guy who's just drugs. What if he does something wrong? Do you blame him or what? Do you forgive him?
Well, like I said,
We
the
don't
individual. Because most of the
No,
time,
it's a question. I asked another answer.
Because the drug changes a person, so we don't get into, so we don't go into that debate, you see, because that has changed the person.
We need to actually continue with
Yeah.
that.
most of the time when someone abuses a substance, it's because of the intellectual is working all the time. That's why the system is important for people in such professions, maybe mental institutions. They will have a lot of benefit from learning the system, because they will see, and not just judge people of the curriculum that they got through the college or whatever, guidance certificates, but actually empathize with the person and want to better them for a reason. But the cycle. This is not the end of the bundle, this is the final thing. Like last time we talked about the life cycle wheel, which is like a wheel, you have it there? The life cycle wheel, which is basically how we are from birth until you are 100 and something. But it works for every 9 years. Like the first 9 years is intellect learning. That's when you're little one is 1 to 9. And from 9 to 18, that 9 years is emotions, water, when you make your friendships and you learn your networks and stuff. From 18 to 27, that's fire. That's when your enthusiasm is into motion, and you have to work and explore the world and discover yourself and who you are and what you want in your life. And from 27 to 36, that is earth. That's when you want security and grounding material, when you just want to settle down and get things together and just
You look for a wife.
settle down and stuff. And that will be your first health of your life cycle. Then your other health will begin. Then you will be learning again from 36 to 45. That's why they say that's when your life actually starts to happen. When you're 20s, it's like research, or when you actually want to live. So then the cycle will begin, continue and repeat itself again with air, fire, water, and so on. And so this number has to do with that every 9 years you will shift into a different phase. And so every year is something to do with your life cycle. That's what we call the year cycle. It has something to do linked with the life cycle. So you will get a 1 year with new beginnings and with 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9. And how you get this number, what year cycle you are in, you will take your inner self number and plus it with whatever year it is. Like for example, this is 2025. So when you make that number single number, it will be 9. So plus the 6 with the 9, you will get 15. So 1 plus 5, 6 again. So it is your cycle is a 6, which is stress and change. And
Okay, right.
I'm just saying, that's how
But you can't
you
change it, eh?
So every year you have something to focus on, depending on those numbers. And that's that help the pinnacle, and this is your basis. Like we discussed last time, your personality, social principles, consciousness. That's right. And
It should be running up now, I think.
I just want to calculate it because we wasted a lot of time now. So 2 plus. So you guys have to understand how to calculate the pinnacle.
I want to look at a little bit of a book of yours. It's the first time I'm here today.
But do you guys understand? You plus these 2 numbers and you get them.
Just don't give me homework.
Because I don't want it to be as complex as it is.
What is the difference between the spirit and the soul?
The soul. Soul is something that never dies. The spirit, I will say, is what drives you through life.
Okay.
For example, this is a 7, which is the idealistic essence, and this element is water. So that's a spiritual number, actually. 7. So we will be into the mystics, the metaphysics, all the religions, everything esoteric. But yeah, just to give a quick analysis, how you usually interpret the pinnacle, you give an overall view of it by just checking the elements, the basic. That's how you will see first, does it have any A? There's 1 A. 1 A on the one side. And another A, which is on the inflexible side, which is 2 A's. And then there's 2 waters, also 1 on the flexible side, the other one on the inflexible side. As you have any earth, there's 1 earth on the flexible side. And fire, fire. Yes, 3 fire, which will make him a very driven person, chatty person. And this number is all about family and friends, so we'll be a very family-centered person, and friends, and charismatic, and sensual. This is the number will strive to be as, which is intellectual, which is this essence number is a creator, leader, who will strive to be that, but will maybe be dominated by the personality, which is a water number, and that's the basic number, which is a nurturer, is a social person. That's the person who will find always quiet and just there, always willing to give a hand, social, but not necessarily chatty. But you can count on them. And so he's a very, I will say, balanced person. He has all elements, water, fire, earth, and air. And he has some things to work on his belly side, as I mentioned, and his reactive side, and being critical and reactive. And
I've worked on it already. No, that's why I'm quiet now.
yeah, because there are a lot of very observant people.
I'm a lot more quiet than I was.
Well, that's good. You can give the youth a lot of knowledge of why they need to be quiet instead of something else. Truth, and then no need to. Yeah. as the basis of the pun code, then just the overall summary, just to go.
So do we have time to actually, when you use the lighting on different numbers, how do you get the context of what you're ascribing to a particular number? Say like in the 2, you just mentioned all the qualities of the 2.
I mentioned some of it.
Yes, yeah. So, so then. No, hang on, I have to ask the question. Three years cycles enough now.
We were by Douglas Forbes.
So let's say you deal with a 5. The 5 is what now again?
The inventor.
The inventor,
That's the essence.
It's an
intellectual.
Yeah, okay. So now this description that is given here, do you actually just interpret that for the 5 in that position? Doesn't matter. Because that is the lesson now.
Yeah. And you have certain things you have to focus on in the lesson. That's just what you need to focus on. This is how the world will see you.
So the
but it will affect you if that's what you're asking. It will have some effect on you, how you interact.
No, the way to actually interpret the numbers in your pin code is to actually take what's written here and apply it to the numbers.
Yeah, to the position.
Each one. Okay, so fine. Yeah, to the position. Yeah.
Because those numbers are just for the personality. That's why you have to use your own interpretation and knowledge. Or how you understand the numbers and how you understand the person and when you read them.
So
that's why prior knowledge will be needed when you want to interpret people. That's why you have to go to practice.
So in other words, you've got to actually have this in your memory.
I have it. And he says that in the book. Yeah. There will come a time when you will just find people, ask them the questions and stuff, and you analyze them in your mind. But first, you have to, like the example that you make, you have to make a template like this and read people through paper. Because you have to first start with paper before you get into the mind and just analyze it.
Do you understand the subject mentally? In other words, you learn the subject and then use it.
Becomes part of you. But you will always have something to learn. You will never know it all. That's what I've come to
That is what the big benefit is. Because of that, you continually learning.
Always.
And that is the important thing. So you're looking at when you're assessing yourself and others. And how you fit in and work. So that is actually brilliant. Because it means constant growth.
And you also matching your knowledge with how to choose individuals you're going to be having relationship
associating with.
Of one type or another.
Then you know such people, you understand we're not compatible, but that doesn't mean I don't have to like you. We just don't have to mix because we will give opposite energies, and sometimes we don't click, and there's nothing wrong with that.
You meet somebody you're attracted to it, but you're not compatible, so you have a tumultuous relationship that you actually have to go and you're going to feel sorry afterwards, or and then you're going to get over it.
It's inevitable, you will have to go through relationships. That's why you wrote the second book, Synergy, which combines your fun code and your partners, and it will make it you unique fun code, which is the relationships fun code, and how you guys deal with that on its own. So there's a fun code of your partner, which you have to analyze in your own.
So that means using this one, you can easily find your soulmate.
More or less,
more or less.
You have to learn.
Because you can maybe relate.
Yeah. will
You
see
know
what
yourself
kind of
most.
person, what kind of person you like.
Because it's very difficult to know yourself. You know, for the
Yeah,
youth.
how to make prior systems and knowledge. But yeah, thank you for you guys' attention. But I just wanted to mention, I had a little, when I started this, I had a little book where I had all the people close to me, I had a button coach there. And I just analyze people by this book because I want to, and then certain traits will jump out and I was saying, that makes sense, why I like to. And you can, then you see the potential of what that can be. So at the start, it's easy to get blinded by the goodness in people. You'll see this person is the potential of this person. But in actuality, they didn't do the work to be better. They just maybe are in survival mode in some of the world. Not be the type of person you want them to be, but they will still have the potential, but the way you project the goodness on them will sometimes blind you. But be careful with the one code and reading this one code. Take your guys' attention.
Did you find that book first in a library at school or something?
Yeah, the library in the town. But I do encounter with it actually. First
I was interested in this book and I bought it.
You bought it? You maybe actually found it in a bookshop?
I found it in the bookshop, yeah. And I bought the book. I put it on my shelf with the intention to read it. And I only started reading it about 10 years later. When
I'm going to ask you how long you had it.
When he actually broke the subject, I said, but I could still a copy of this. I went back and I read it and there's so much that I have to read it constantly now.
Okay.
There's such a lot because if you read the book, then it explains chronologically the thinking about the discovery of that and the whole pathway that he traveled. So, there's associated the reading list in here that is the ancient secret of the flower of life. I have a copy of that book as well. There's volume 1 and volume 2. It's heavy stuff. And I discussed it with Desmond last time and he said, yeah, but you know, why do you have to do that? His response was, why do you have to do all that trouble when Douglas actually did that for you?
Combine all the systems.
Because there's the Kabbalistic tree, it's all esoterical stuff. And he studied numerology and all that. And it's actually complicated for you to start all over from being a greenie if you haven't done that. Now, if he's actually done that and researched it to this extent, and he tested this thoroughly, and it's all written here. So you get that essence of how genuine the intention is behind the book.
And he had over 4,000 persons and that he analyzed and cases that he lists in the book, which makes it the evidence in the
So I was so astounded that I actually didn't read it until Desmond actually.
Thank you, man. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. I think you are